Did you know that there's a scientific way to motivate yourself to achieve your goals? Because if I was able to find it, I would have not spent 7 years in college studying for my medical degree just to end up doing something completely different. So I am a big believer in understanding the science behind motivation because it has really helped me improve my productivity and overcome procrastination. And in this video, I am gonna share with you exactly what I learned so that you can finally stop procrastinating and start achieving your dreams. And here's a little sneak peek of what we're going to talk about today. The first thing is the misinterpretation of motivation. Most people think that motivation should feel like fire under their butts, but actually, that's not the case. In fact, studies show that motivation feels more like a gentle nudge than a burning desire. Second, we not talk about Parkinson's law that says that tasks expand to fill the time that we allocate to them. So, how does this affect your ability to focus and be productive? Third, I am gonna explain the psychology of deadlines and why having 1 week to do a task takes twice as long as having only 1 day. And last, I talk about how dopamine plays a role in motivation and what you can do to hack your environment to increase your chances of achieving your goal. If that sounds good, let's get into it. Let's start with an example. Imagine that you have 2 papers that are both due in 2 weeks. One paper you really don't want to write, and the other one you kinda wanna write. You're faced with writer's block for the first paper, and you might even tell yourself, "Ooh, I really need to get motivated to write this stupid essay." And that's where things go wrong, and that's where most people get stuck. You see, when you try to motivate yourself by forcing a strong emotional response, you set yourself up for failure. Why? Because emotions are fleeting. That initial burst of energy that you force yourself to create doesn't last. Your mind is a lot like the weather. You can't force sunshine or rain on demand. So if you try to force motivation from yourself, it's not gonna work. Instead, a better approach is to take advantage of the weather that's already there. Emotions are a lot like the weather. They ebb and flow throughout the day, and sometimes we just can't force sunshine or rain on demand. So instead of trying to muster up motivation, which is kind of like trying to force a sunny day, it's more effective to pay attention to the emotional weather that's already there and match our tasks accordingly. For example, if you're feeling low energy, which is kind of like cloudy or rainy weather, it's a good idea to do something easy, something that you enjoy. This could be reading a book, taking a walk, or maybe catching up with a friend. These activities will give you a chance to rest and recharge so that you can tackle bigger tasks later on. It's important to listen to your body and mind and take breaks when you need them. But too often we ignore these signals and push ourselves to work even when we're burned out. We all have off days, but we can't let those days turn into off weeks or months. And that's where Parkinson's law comes in. Parkinson's law states that work always expands so as to fill the time that we allocate to its completion. What does this mean? Well, let's say that you have a project that you expect to take around 5 hours to complete, but you give yourself 10 hours to finish it. According to Parkinson's law, your brain will somehow make it take up the full 10 hours. You'll find ways to procrastinate, or you'll become less efficient as the deadline approaches, which causes you to panic and work faster and make more mistakes. Then you spend extra time fixing those mistakes. All of this could have been avoided if you had just given yourself a shorter amount of time to complete the project. But remember, Parkinson's law is a psychological phenomenon, not a physical limitation. So how can we use this to our advantage? Well, instead of giving ourselves 10 hours to do that 5-hour project, why not give ourselves only 6 hours? This way we be forced to work more efficiently, and we still have enough time to double-check our work and make any necessary revisions. You might be thinking, wait, if I give myself less time to do something, won't I just end up more stressed and overwhelmed? And yes, that could happen if you're not careful. But the key is to only do this with tasks that you can realistically complete in the allotted time frame. For example, if you know that you can read a chapter in 30 minutes, then give yourself 45 minutes to do it. If you normally spend an hour on it, you'll probably find that you can read it faster without sacrificing comprehension. Once you get used to working with tighter deadlines, you'll find that you're able to work more efficiently and effectively. And speaking of deadlines, let's talk about how they affect our perception of time. You've probably experienced this before. When you have a looming deadline, it seems to creep up faster than you expected. And when you don't have a deadline, time seems to slow down to a crawl. This phenomenon is called the psychology of deadlines, and it can significantly impact our sense of urgency and therefore our motivation to do things. Here's what's going on in your brain. When we have a deadline, our brains release a surge of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones cause us to hyperfixate on the task at hand. This intense focus allows us to ignore distractions and stay on track until the deadline is met. But this same hyperfocus can also cause us to feel anxious and stressed. On the other hand, when we don't have a deadline, our brains don't release these stress hormones. As a result, we may not feel as motivated or focused, and time seems to slow down because we're not getting that hit of adrenaline that makes us feel like we're on a mission. This brings us back to the importance of motivation. Having a deadline helps us focus our attention and energy, allowing us to get things done. But without the pressure of an imminent deadline, it's easy to lose focus and motivation. That's why having a deadline can help us overcome procrastination and get things done. Knowing that we only have a limited amount of time to complete a task can help us focus our attention and energy, allowing us to get things done efficiently. However, the deadline should be realistic and achievable. If we set ourselves up for failure by setting an unrealistic deadline, we're likely to become overwhelmed and stressed and ultimately fail to complete the task. The best way to avoid this is to break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable ones and set deadlines for each step along the way. And lastly, let's talk about the role of dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a major role in our motivation. When we engage in pleasurable activities, our brains release dopamine, which makes us feel good. The problem arises when we become addicted to these dopamine hits. We begin to crave them, which can lead to overindulgence and a decrease in our ability to delay gratification. When we eat junk food, use drugs, or drink alcohol, our brains get a massive dopamine spike. This can be very pleasurable, but it also creates a tolerance, meaning that we need more and more of the substance to get the same effect. This can lead to addiction and other harmful behaviors. But dopamine isn't always associated with bad things. We can also become addicted to positive activities like exercise, video games, and watching TV. These activities can make us feel good, but they can also reduce our ability to delay gratification. When we're constantly bombarded with dopamine hits from social media, our brains can become desensitized to it, making it harder to feel motivated or satisfied. So, what can we do to prevent this dopamine addiction? First, we need to be aware of the activities that are causing us to overindulge in dopamine. This can be difficult because many of these activities are enjoyable and can make us feel good. But it's important to be aware of the signs of overindulgence, such as decreased productivity, difficulty focusing, and neglecting responsibilities. Second, we need to find alternative activities that provide similar dopamine hits. This can be challenging, but it's important to find activities that are both enjoyable and don't cause overindulgence. Some examples include spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness, and engaging in meaningful conversations. By finding these alternatives, we can reduce our reliance on unhealthy activities that cause dopamine addiction. Third, we need to educate ourselves about the dangers of dopamine addiction and the importance of delayed gratification. This can help us make more informed decisions and resist the urge to overindulge in unhealthy activities. Understanding the science of motivation can be a game changer in achieving success. By learning how to harness the power of deadlines, being aware of our emotional weather, avoiding Parkinson's law, and understanding the role of dopamine, we can set ourselves up for success. Remember, success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So it's important to pace ourselves and celebrate small victories along the way. So I encourage you to take these lessons to heart and start applying them to your life today. You'll be surprised at what you can achieve. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.